We all think dinosaurs were the biggest monsters of their time, right? Wrong. Because until recently, almost nobody knew about a real-life apex predator that existed alongside the dinosaurs. It remained hidden from us for nearly 66 million years. Around 80 million years ago, it was hunting in the prehistoric oceans. This was the Cretaceous Kraken. Not a dinosaur, not a mosasaur, not even an animal with bones. It was an enormous finned octopus. And according to the highest estimates, it may have approached 19 meters in length, longer than a school bus. But nobody has uncovered a complete kraken fossil. No preserved arms, no recognizable body, not even the outline of its skin. Scientists found something much smaller. Its jaws. Researchers examined 27 fossilized jaws belonging to ancient cephalopods. 15 had already been collected, while another 12 were detected inside rock using high-resolution imaging and artificial intelligence. That may not sound like enough evidence to reconstruct an enormous predator, but for an octopus, a jaw can be almost everything. At the center of its arms is a hard beak that works something like a pair of powerful scissors. It is one of the few parts of an octopus capable of surviving long enough to enter the fossil record. The rest of the animal is almost designed to vanish. There are no bones. The skin is soft, the organs decay, and the arms eventually disappear into the sediment. A dead marine reptile might leave behind an entire skeleton. A giant octopus can leave behind almost nothing. That is why this creature remained invisible for so long. It wasn't hiding in an unexplored trench for 66 million years. Its body had been erased, while a few pieces of its mouth waited inside ancient stone. Those pieces belonged to two species of finned octopus, Nanaimoteuthis gillespie and Nanaimoteuthis haggarti. The smaller species may still have reached around 8 meters, but Nanaimoteuthis haggarti appears to have been much larger. By comparing its fossil jaws with the proportions of living finned octopuses, researchers estimated a possible total length between roughly 7 and 19 meters. That range is enormous because scientists are reconstructing a soft-bodied animal from its mouth. Different living species have different proportions, and there is no guarantee that Nanaimoteuthis looked exactly like any octopus alive today. So 19 meters is not a direct measurement. It is the highest estimate produced by the comparison, but even the conservative estimate gives us a gigantic animal, one larger than almost any known living octopus, and size was only the beginning. The fossil jaws were badly damaged. Their surfaces were scratched and polished. Their edges were chipped and cracked. The sharp tips had been worn into blunt shapes. In some mature specimens, repeated use may have removed around 10% of the original jaw tip. That kind of damage does not come from gently swallowing soft food. These animals had repeatedly bitten material hard enough to damage their own feeding equipment. Shells are the clearest possibility. Hard skeletons may also have been involved, and perhaps even bone. This does not prove that the kraken regularly attacked mosasaurs or crushed plesiosaur skulls. A worn fossil cannot identify the exact animal being bitten more than 70 million years ago. But it tells us this was not a passive creature drifting through the water. It was an active predator, capable of handling heavily protected prey. That may have placed it near the top of the Cretaceous food web, competing in oceans already occupied by sharks, plesiosaurs, and enormous mosasaurs. We normally imagine that relationship moving in one direction: marine reptiles hunting cephalopods. But these fossils suggest it may have been more complicated. Some cephalopods were not merely food. They were monsters in their own right. The jaws contained another strange clue. One edge appeared more worn than the other, suggesting these animals may have consistently favored one side while feeding. In simple terms, they may have had a preferred side, something vaguely comparable to handedness. Scientists call this lateralization. Modern octopuses can also favor particular arms or sides while exploring objects and attacking prey. In living animals, this behavioral asymmetry can be associated with specialized processing in the nervous system. That does not prove the Cretaceous Kraken possessed human-like intelligence. We cannot know whether it solved complicated problems, remembered individual animals, or planned its attacks. But it may not have responded to every situation in exactly the same way. It may have been making choices. That possibility makes an already powerful predator considerably more unsettling. Strength is predictable. An animal that can observe, adjust, and change its approach is not. Eventually, the marine reptiles vanished, and sometime after the late Cretaceous, the enormous finned octopuses disappeared as well. We do not know exactly when the Nanaimoteuthis died out. It may have vanished during the mass extinction 66 million years ago, or simply disappeared from a fossil record that was never good at preserving it. What survived was not a skeleton. It was not the imprint of an arm or the outline of a body, only a collection of battered jaws, the parts of the animal that had spent their lives breaking other things. Sometimes, it feels as though evolution was unusually generous to humans. Most of the world's real monsters disappeared before we arrived. But the Cretaceous Kraken leaves us with an uncomfortable thought. An enormous predator existed for millions of years, and then vanished so completely that humanity could barely reconstruct it. Even now, much of the deep ocean remains poorly explored. And unexplored does not mean empty. It only means that we have not seen what is there. The frightening part is not that evolution once created something resembling a kraken. It is that evolution created one and almost erased it perfectly.